They've got weapons that can hurt you. They've got world-class players at the highest level. We just saw today the quality of the pass and the finish and the individual brilliances. They've got an array of talent they can pick to change the game from an attacking perspective.
We're starting with Atletico and Real. Do you think Real deserved the advantage today?
Yes, I do. I thought it was a great game of football. You look at two teams and how they set out, how Simeone sets out his Atlético Madrid to go 1-0 down and to come back into it. And you look at Real Madrid's first goal, for me, I'll just say it's world-class. The pass by Valverde into the back of Rodrygo and how Rodrygo finishes it off, just a world-class movement. That pass alone, and Rodrygo comes inside there, and just to apply the finishing touch, but you talk about a team goal, it's just Real Madrid at the best. This is why these players are at Real Madrid. You talk about football intelligence, positioning, when to run, when to make the pass there, just the movement of Rodrygo there. That's what makes the goal, and then just the composure at the end of it.
I think when you watch this match, I say it's the highest level of quality because the way that Atlético Madrid possessed the ball and they stood up to Real Madrid. Then Real Madrid, on the flip side, what we come in here every week and say about Pep and some other managers is that Ancelotti said, okay, fine, no problem. You guys have the ball. We'll hit you on the counter. So effectively, even though Atlético Madrid had most of the ball and most of the play comfortable for large parts of the game, when Real Madrid won it, they looked the more dangerous side, right? But then you put all these systems in place and you put all this organization in place and tactics and all these little things, right? But when there's individual quality like the likes of on this field, the Alvarez's of the world, the Mbappes, the Rodrygos of the world, Valverde with that pass into Rodrygo, then, like Nigel says, you have to put your hands up. There's just, that's what it took to break down those systems. And it was such a great match. It was like they went for it every single time. There was not any really period in the game where either team just said, oh, we're going to possess it for the sake of possessing it. Every time they had the ball, it was like, let's go and try and kill the other team. But not in a reckless way. Not in a way that they were unbalanced. In a very calculated, risk-reward, smart.
That's what it was.
Okay, how are we going to kill them off now? There was so much efficiency in that game of football. That game of football was fantastic.
There were so many different elements as well, because there'll be times when they play through the lines and there'll be times when they try and go direct. And you talk about moments of individual brilliance. Brahim Díaz's goal,
it's crazy.
For me, was just sublime. It was sublime. It was brilliant. It was a player that reminds me of like playing in the streets, what we used to play before you even started to play on pitches. You play on the streets in the grass up against walls. It was just one of those moments, like a five-a-side goal. One-on-one in the box, just to throw the dummy. You can't coach this. And this is what I love to see. This isn't about coaching a player. This is a player just saying, go play football, play like a kid. Just to do that. That's not something you can tell a coach or teach a player how to do. Just an individual moment to do that of a game of this magnitude against top opposition, where one of the strengths of Atletico Madrid sides is defending. One-on-one defending and team defending is one of their strengths. But to do that in the box and to finish it like that, it just goes to show just how much of a magnificent package of real football we just
And that goal is a perfect example of what I was saying, is like, Simeone can't look at the back line there and say, hey, listen, we didn't shift hard enough, or we were too deep, or we were too... Because most goals, they're easy, especially sitting from this chair. You could just freeze frame it and go, oh, you're supposed to be here. So I used to hate as a player when coaches would do that, because the game is constantly moving, But it's so easy to freeze frame a goal and say, well, here was the problem. But in most of these goals today, there was not an error. There was not a problem.
Was it just moments of brilliance?
This last goal, there's 4 or 5 Atleti players there, closing the angle. The goalkeeper's in the correct position. The defender that gets beat, okay, he gets beat, but it's a brilliance from Brahim Díaz. So sometimes, the level of quality that these two teams possess, they're going to break down systems sometimes.
I mean, Grella said earlier on today that this is the toughest test for Real Madrid, and whoever wins this tie, you can see them going all the way to the final. Do you agree with that, Nigel, and how much of a factor is it that Atletico are at home in this next leg?
It's a massive factor. I think Atletico's performance today was great. I don't think you could take anything away from them, and them being at home is going to be massive, and I think they have to have the same approach. They can't go gun-ho against Real Madrid because they've got weapons that can hurt you on the counter-attack. So again, at home, I feel they have to try and grind them down, because again, it's individual moments of brilliance that won that game today for Real Madrid. You need to stay in the tie. I agree with Grella. I said to myself, I said to Nico as well, whoever wins this tie will probably go on to win this competition. I just feel Real Madrid are so strong. And again, you talk about...
Who do you think is more comfortable heading into this next leg?
I would say Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid are. I've said it for such a long time. I think they are. They've got weapons. They're set up perfect. They've got weapons that can hurt you. They've got world-class players at the highest level. We just saw today the quality of the pass and the finish and the individual brilliances. They've got an array of talent they can pick to change the game from an attacking perspective. Defensively, still questionable, but are there many opponents they're going to come up against that's going to test them defensively, even though when some of their players are starting to come back? Valverde is a midfielder who played right back today. If he played right back week in, week out,
he was awesome.
He would be probably, next to Hakimi, the second best right back in world football. That's how good Valverde is, and that's a midfielder converting to play right back. And he snuffed out danger twice, coming in that back stick, doing the defensive due diligence. But Real Madrid, for me, I just feel are just too equipped, more so than a lot of the teams they'll be facing.
As well.
Jude Bellingham will be back.
You got at the weekend.
You got Luka Modric coming on this late in the game to change things. Then they bring on Enrique as well. So I just feel it's hard to see anyone else beyond them. And just with the love affair that Real Madrid have with this competition, I just think they're just too strong as a team.
Which is kind of frustrating, though, for Atletico, because if they're going to beat Real Madrid in any year, it feels like this year is well poised to do that, whether it's in La Liga, whether it's in this competition with where they're meeting at right now. I mean, that's got to be frustrating, hasn't it, for Simeone in some ways?
But it's a reality that they've lived in since Simeone was there, since they've been around. It's a reality that they live in, that they have two older brothers in Barcelona and Real Madrid, and that they're always going to be in that third position. It's always going to be difficult. Every once in a while, a crumb falls on the table, and they're the first ones to pick it up. That's the reality that they live in. But I thought they were really good today, and the margins at this level are so small. On the first goal with Rodrygo, probably the left back Galan, he's probably a foot.
He cheats.
He's probably a foot or two too close. Probably a foot or two too close.
You're being generous. He's 5 foot too close. He's cheating.
Well,
remember the times when you've been told in training, don't cheat. If you cheat, you're going to get caught. Because Grella knows he's done those very same ones.
He was 10 yards offside.
You got to cheat all the time. If he doesn't cheat and he gives him the space, then all game Rodrygo will collect that ball to feet and run at you.
Yeah.
Okay, you pick your poison. You want to die this way or you want to die that way. That's what the problem with Rodrygo is. If you leave too much space, he collects it and he goes 1v1. If you get a little too tight to not let him get comfortable and not let him get that space, 1 or 2 feet too close, okay, maybe 3 or 4 feet too close, cheated a little bit too much, boom, behind. But at this level, that's it. Those are the mistakes we're talking about. They're not even mistakes really. It's like that.
That's what. It's funny because as soon as I saw the goal, I said the same thing to Nico about the fine margins, and I said he got done because he cheated. I said, I understand. We always say if you're coming up against a player that's quick, get there tight. Get there quick and tight so they get their head down so they can't run at you or attack the space. But in those moments there, it's the decisions you have to make. You talk about football intelligence. Where is the danger? If he stays at home, connected to his back four, yes, Rodrygo gets it, then you can come out. But when you can come out, that gives enough time for the rest of the defence to adjust. And managers and coaches always used to say to us sometimes, because they know if you know a player's quick, I'm going to cheat with Grella and I stand here. If someone else has the ball, there's no pressure on the ball. They play that in there. If he's quick, he's already going to get there. And that's exactly what happened in that play.
What about how the two teams look with the new signings? Because here's just the comparison with Kylian Mbappe and Julián Álvarez, who we were talking about in the pre-show. And Grella, you were talking about the money aspect of it and how Julián Álvarez is worth, Mbappe's worth 3 times the amount.
Roughly. I worked out my own number. It's like a 5-year contract of what it cost them and what their salaries are. And Mbappe is roughly 3 times more expensive, or costs more money.
But the numbers that Julián Álvarez is putting up are just incredible. To say he's had 22 goals and 5 assists in the 41 matches. He has been the identity, hasn't he, of this Atletico team lately?
Yeah, he has been. And he's not surrounded by the luxury that Mbappe is at Real Madrid. So you've got to give him a lot more credit of what he's doing at this Atletico Madrid side. Because if you talk about, and again, it's not being disrespectful to Atletico Madrid, the players that they have there, because they're a hard-working team. That's what it is. They're a team. They work hard together. They work hard in discipline of not being easily broken down. When you talk about the creativity aspect of it, Griezmann's probably the only one. And Alvarez is working off that. But when you look at Mbappe, you've got Rodrygo, you've got Vinicius Jr., you've even got Brahim Díaz today who came on. So there's so many more elements who should make it a lot more easier for Mbappe to score more goals at Real Madrid than Alvarez. So he deserves a lot more credit.
Give me the cheaper guy. 6 goals less, but much cheaper. I'll take him.
Because this is the form that he's been on in the last couple of games. 5 games, Nigel. He has scored in, all 5 of them? Is that the number? 4 goals, maybe? 5 goals in his last 4
You all right?
across all competition.
Four appearances, 5 goals in all counts.
There's been a lot of stats today. This is probably one of the best ones that we've seen, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been on fine form. I mean, he showed his quality today with the goal that he scored. World-class goal. He is their key man. Yes, Nico, he is Argentinian. Yes, we know that. But this is just, there's nothing you can do about this, Poppy. It's a goal of the highest quality and level. Ancelotti even said it himself, and his manager Simeone, just top class. And Simeone said exactly what we alluded to at the start of the show. They need to get him more help. They need other players to chip in, to really put him in better positions and positions like that to get more goals, because he's capable of it.
Grella, you'll appreciate this stat. In the Copa Libertadores, South America's elite tournament, he had 14 goals in his career at his time at River Plate. In the stadium where he won the Copa Libertadores, because with River he beat Boca, he now surpasses his total of Copa Libertadores goals with goals in the Champions League with 15.
Wow, that is incredible.
So just pretty significant moment for
I remember that game
Julián
too.
Álvarez.
They got the coach from River Plate. They call him the doll, right?
El Muñeco, yeah.
The doll. Yeah, came to Bernabeu and won.
Good knowledge. What do you know about South American football?
I know a lot, mate. Done Libertadores a few times.
He's done Libertadores. He'll occasionally whip out
teams.
Peñarol, eh? I heard he was from Peñarol.
Nigel,
ask him about where Peñarol is.
It's incredible. Nigel can't pronounce a single name, but we'll be doing Golazo show, and it'll be a random Hungarian team or something like that. And he'll remember the Brazilian fullback that played one time in the Copa Libertadores from a game he did, and he'll be like, Gustavo Barbosa. I'm like, what? Nice. Where'd you get that?
The Copa Libertadores.
I did do it.
So no, I want to see
It was good fun.
the footage.
Listen, I love football, man. I love football from all around the world. It's a great tournament. Because I remember when I used to do it. Sadly, it used to be Boca, River, Sao Paulo, Flamengo.
Yeah, it's true.
They were the big tournaments.
Now it's only been Brazilian teams.
Big. It's been Brazilian teams because of finances, but yeah.
Okay. Well, Julián Álvarez obviously is on great form, isn't he? Let's see what happens in the second leg.